there is one thing that I could have mentioned in the previous episode, which I didn't. There's always 100 things I could have mentioned in each and every episode I make that I could have mentioned and didn't. But there is one thing I want to mention that I didn't with respect to the episode prior to this one, which was called Deep Time Dreaming. A Narrator review, that's the title I gave it. It's a review of the narrator and his performance in reading out a book called Deep Time Dreaming, which is a mixture of archaeology and indigenous rights and all sorts of things like that, and occasionally some greeny stuff, environmental stuff. All right. The thing that is noteworthy about what I was speaking about in the previous episode, which I didn't note, was this. All right, the previous episode was about my impression that in reading out this book, the narrator puts on different voices depending on who the book is talking about at any given point in time. When I think he should have just read the book straight, because I don't need to be told how to think, with respect to the archaeologists in the book, the indigenous people in the book, and let's say the activists in the book, and the people who oppose those activists in the book. And my beef with the narrator of the book, not the book itself, I was fine with the book. My beef with the narrator is that whenever he's reading a section of the book that's about the archaeologists, for example, and their actions and behaviours out in the field, he speaks in a tone that makes them come across as reasonable people, good people, noble intentions, sometimes flawed, getting it wrong sometimes, and all that sort of thing. But in the end, good and noble people. So if he's quoting an archaeologist speaking or writing, when he's reading out that quote, this narrator, he will say, and this archaeologist got it wrong, estimated the date of some bone that he dug up as being 175,000 years ago, which proved to be only 40,000 years old. And he'll say, but in defense of the archaeologist, he is an academic and his intentions were academic and good and noble, and also he has proven over a long period of time that he has indigenous rights at heart. Just gets it wrong sometimes, and yes, he dug up some indigenous guy's ancestor, and took the guy's bones to London, and there was an outcry, but the poor guy, he didn't realise, and as soon as he realised, he tried to make amends because he's a good person. Now, when this narrator is speaking about, when he's reading quotes from people who oppose activists for the environment or indigenous rights or anything like that, the voice he puts on is one of, in the way that he reads out what they're writing or saying, these, let's say these right-wing bastards. Well, if they're saying bastard things, we can hear that, but what he does, he puts the voice on. And this was my issue with the guy, the narrator. That's why I'd give him 2 out of 10 because he annoyed me. I didn't mind the book. I minded the narrator, and he'd put on a mocking tone. Such and such, MP for the Liberal Party, said this, and here goes. Oh, what good is a dam, and what good is a river that's just all full of junk and old rubbish heaps that you call shell middens and all that sort of stuff. Damn a lot of it. He puts on that voice. When he doesn't make those guys come across reasonable or even neutral. What he should do is read it out such that we can, make up our own minds. And if he had read out such a quote as that, in a reasonable tone, he'd say that such and such person was opposing the activists said, what good is a river that is inaccessible anyway and has no visible, no known archaeological benefit, and we've got people downstream who need that water for hydroelectricity and all that sort of thing, and we oppose the idea of banning the dam. We think the dam should go ahead. Now, he should read it like that. Is my opinion, because even if I I'm totally against damming the Franklin or the Gordon in Tasmania. I am. However, if an MP down in Tasmania wants to dam the Franklin or the Gordon, of course I'll oppose that. But I'll let him say his piece. And when I'm quoting him saying his piece, I'll use the voice that he used or she used. I won't put this whole mock voice on to make him look like, or her like, an utter fascist. I've got too many people coming through. I can't finish this. Anyway, what I was going to say is, I'll finish quickly. Strangely, he tries to speak, when he's trying to speak about Indigenous people, he tries to use an awestruck voice, but sometimes he quotes them. Too late.